at the end. He's from Nigeria, CEO Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. So over to you.
Well, before I start, actually, I wanted Hubert to be in the room, because I think that not many people are doing what Hubert is doing. And I really want us to give Hubert a round of applause. Can we just put a round of applause for Hubert for what he's doing? There's that passion that is focused on infrastructure, and you tell Hubert, I don't see enough young people around here, so there's an initiative I'm driving in engaging young Africans in universities about the infrastructure, which I'd like to work with him on, himself, Raj, and Andrew, working with young people, because we got an infrastructure emergency in Africa, and I think we need to realize that. And just to put things in perspective, I think it's when you talk about infrastructure, it's really about capital. And I'd like to say something. Capital is a coward. It would never go where it's threatened. And that's something we need to recognize. And that we're competing across other regions of the world in terms of capital. There isn't a lack of capital around the world. The world is awash with capital. The point is to create an enabling environment in Africa and in our countries to mop up that capital in a manner that is, and frankly, there isn't much I can say, because there isn't enough time. But I think the acting president Mauritius said it all. And, so there's nothing I can add to what he has said. And I think I would suggest that speech, it's basically, made photocopies and sent to all our presidents, all our ministers. If we all could replicate what he has done, Africa will not be itself in 1 year's, time. And frankly, just to let us know how important infrastructure is, John F. Kennedy said something in the 60s. America has good roads, not because America is rich, but America is rich because it has good roads. So it just tells what the nexus is, between infrastructure and development. And the head of the DDP unit in the Philippines made a very important article, which I will encourage people to look at, about that. It's about de-risking your country. Where you have about bankability, and that's what bankability is. That you de-risk your environment, and you have fair risk allocation, between the public and the private sector. So those are the key things that you need to do. The other thing is governance. The World Bank will tell you that infrastructure deficit is actually a symptom of governance problems. That if you have good governance, then people will bring it. So there's a governance deficit that needs to be. And how do you address that? Things like contract sanctity. It's very simple. Things like legal and regulatory framework. In Nigeria, what we do is we've got to act as a national policy. So there is a framework for things to do. You need to have a pipeline of projects so that investors can see what you have. Transparency is very, very key. And what we have done in Nigeria is that if you go onto the web, if you go to our website, www.icrc.gov.ng, we've got the PPP disclosure web portal. So everything that is about PPPs in Nigeria, it's openly disclosed to everybody. So that level of disclosure creates comfort in investors that whatever you're doing is out there in the open. There's procurement processes that open, that are transparent. Then you also need to look at mobilized domestic resources, because domestic resources are actually very, very key. Because without equity, you can't only bring the debt. If your own people are not investing in your country, why would foreigners invest? So that is you've got pension funds in Africa that are awash with capital. You've got high net worth individuals. If they're not investing, nobody else will invest. So you've got to create conditions for mobilizing, domestic, resources. The other thing is learning from others. I think Africa is in a very good place. Just like with the mobile phones. What I keep saying to people is that, infrastructure is succeeded in other places, lucky. I think what we just need to do is to look at what they've done that works and copy shamelessly. Mark Shuttleworth needed to go to space. If he had spent his money, trying to build a space shuttle and everything, he would be broke by now. What did he do? He bought a seat on the Russian, space, travel system. That's what Africa should do. What has Turkey done? What has India done? What has the US done? What can we apply here? We copy shameless in terms of things that do. Like in Nigeria, my friend Chinua is here. You also need local credit enhancement. Because you mustn't always depend on mega. You need to create your own. So you need to create an ecosystem. So what we are trying to do in Nigeria is we've got the ICRC there as the regulator, we've got the MDAs, we've got the credit enhancement, we've got the sovereign wealth fund. So you create that ecosystem that is able to leverage, and then you have bankable projects. That's very, very key. Because then you need to spend the money and create the capacity. And my last point is that there isn't enough experienced people like Cuba to do infrastructure. So I strongly recommend that we should create an infrastructure project development academy in Africa. That's something that NEPAD can drive. That's something that the EU can drive. You bring in people and train them, because infrastructure preparation and development is very complicated. Very often, we just take people and say they can do infrastructure. They've got very little knowledge. So by acquiring that knowledge, they're able to do it. So that's just the point I want to say. That if we can do all of that, get our people involved, use our resources, create good governance, investment, because investors want to make money. And don't forget that capital is a coward. It would never go where it's threatened. You must create an awaiting environment, and capital will come to Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chidi. I think that's a lot to remember and to take with us when we leave.
Doing business in Africa. You can't afford to be without Africa Investor.